The Beyond, directed by Lucio Fulci, is a chilling masterpiece that remains one of the most underappreciated films in the zombie horror genre. While George A. Romero's films, Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead, are often seen as the definitive zombie films, The Beyond offers a radically different vision of the undead, one that is steeped in supernatural horror rather than social commentary. Blending surrealism with visceral gore, it transports viewers into a nightmarish world where logic dissolves and pure terror reigns. Despite its cult following, the film remains largely unknown to mainstream audiences, but its disturbing imagery, oppressive atmosphere, and Lovecraftian undertones make it one of the creepiest zombie films that a lot of people have never seen. Unlike more conventional zombie films, The Beyond tells a story that is often fragmented and non-linear, creating a disorienting experience for the audience, much like the characters in the film. The plot centers around the notion that a hotel sits on one of the 7 gates to hell, unleashing a torrent of supernatural horrors upon those who come too close. The film begins with a chilling prologue set in 1927. In a sepia-toned sequence, a mob of angry townspeople storm the Seven Doors Hotel after learning that an artist named Schweik is using the hotel for occult practices. The mob drags Schweik from his room and into the hotel's basement, killing him for practicing black magic. Meanwhile, a woman reads from the ancient tome Eibon, prophesizing the opening of one of the 7 gates. The Book of Eibon is actually a fictional creation that has been used in literature for decades as a representation of evil. The book first appeared in the works of H.P. Lovecraft and Clark Ashton Smith, writers known for their contributions to the Cthulhu mythos. In their writings, the Book of Eibon is an ancient tome of arcane knowledge, filled with dangerous and otherworldly knowledge. The film fast-forwards decades later to the present day when the film was released, showing the character Liza Merrill, a young woman from New York, who inherits the now dilapidated hotel where the beginning took place. Liza plans to restore the property and reopen it, unaware of the supernatural forces lurking beneath its foundations. Quickly at the hotel, terrifying events begin to occur. First, a worker sees a white-eyed woman through a window and falls off his scaffolding. Then Joe the plumber, one of the laborers working on the hotel, goes to the basement that is now flooded. Accidentally, Joe opens the gate to hell where a ghoul attacks and brutally kills him. This is one of many scenes in which Fulci's mastery of visceral, slow-building tension is showcased, using gore not just as shock value, but as a tool for deepening the film's sense of dread. Liza begins to experience increasingly strange occurrences, including eerie visions and interactions with a blind woman named Emily, who warns her to leave the hotel. Emily is more than she appears, a spectral figure trapped between the living world and hell, condemned to remain near the gateway. Her appearance is a crucial turning point, emphasizing the film's departure from typical zombie tropes and embracing a more ghostly metaphysical horror. Also, her image has become the most iconic aspect of this film's legacy. We're about to dive deep into the horrors of The Beyond. If you haven't seen it, tread carefully. There are dark spoilers ahead. Later, Emily tells Liza about Schweik, warning her not to enter room 36. Upon examining Schweik's painting, she states it was part of his seance, and his own death counted as a sacrifice to curse the land. Despite Emily's warning, Liza enters room 36 and discovers the Book of Eibon, as well as Schweik's corpse, nailed to the bathroom wall. Liza draws in Dr. John McCabe, a local doctor, to show him what she has just seen, and when they arrive to the room, both the book and the corpse are gone. Liza tells John about the warnings from Emily, and John insists that there is no blind woman living in town. As the film progresses, the line between reality and the supernatural begins to blur. Liza's architect, Martin, visits the town library to inspect the hotel's blueprints, which reveal a large, unexplained space in the basement. Upon discovering this, he is knocked off his ladder by an unseen force, breaks his neck, and is paralyzed. As he lies helpless on the floor, spiders eat him alive. The dead begin to rise, but Fulci's zombies are not the ravenous creatures of George Romero's films. They are slow, decayed, and spectral, almost dreamlike in their presence. These zombies appear as manifestations of the otherworldly horrors leaking into the living world, tied to the hotel and its cursed history. Emily is then confronted in her home by the animated corpses of Schweik and the other recently deceased. She commands her dog to attack. Although her seeing dog chases away the undead, he next turns upon Emily, killing her. In one of the more gruesome moments of the film, it shows how the gates of hell can affect anyone and anything. Meanwhile, Liza returns to the basement and is attacked by an undead worker. In her escape, she runs into John at the entrance. Upon investigating, there is no sign of the undead worker, and Liza begins to question her own sanity. The two drive to the hospital where they see the horde of the undead. In the film's final act, the two fight off the undead, including Joe the plumber's daughter, who is turned by the gates of hell. The horror intensifies as John and Liza realize they are surrounded by the dead, and the horde somehow continues to grow throughout the hospital. In one of the film's most unsettling and iconic moments, Dr. John McCabe is forced to kill Joe's daughter, Jill, after she has transformed into a zombie. This scene is haunting not just for its graphic intensity, but for the emotional weight it carries. Jill, once an innocent child traumatized by the loss of her father, now stands as a twisted symbol of that trauma, reanimated as a vessel of terror and death. The duo is forced to retreat downstairs. However, when they reach downstairs, somehow they see they are back in the basement of the hotel. In one of Fulci's most disorienting sequences, the basement shifts and stretches, eventually leading the pair into a vast, desolate wasteland, the symbolic representation of hell itself. It is a landscape devoid of life, an empty void where the dead are eternally trapped. The ending of The Beyond is famously bleak and open-ended. Liza and Dr. McCabe are swallowed by this netherworld, their fates left ambiguous. Fulci offers no resolution, no final battle, and no escape from the horrors they face. Instead, they seem to wander forever in the hellish realm, caught between life and death. The film closes with a haunting image of the two characters, blinded and lost, consumed by the beyond. The Beyond is widely regarded as one of the most surreal and terrifying films within the zombie horror genre. As part of Fulci's unofficial Gates of Hell trilogy, the film is often celebrated for its disturbing imagery and dreamlike narrative, qualities that distinguish it from other zombie films of its time. Unlike traditional zombie films where the dead rise due to scientific experiments or contagions, the zombies in The Beyond are more supernatural in nature. They serve not as symbols of societal collapse, but as manifestations of death's inevitability and its incomprehensibility. Fulci uses the zombies to explore what lies beyond death, something unknowable, terrifying, and eternal. The dead in The Beyond do not just walk the earth. They represent a rupture in the natural order, a breach in the boundary between existence and oblivion. Although The Beyond was not a commercial success upon its initial release, it has since gained a significant cult following and is now regarded as one of Fulci's most important films. In The Beyond, Lucio Fulci creates a film that defies conventional narrative structure, relying instead on atmosphere, disturbing imagery, and thematic depth to evoke terror. The film's exploration of death, decay, and the supernatural, combined with its surreal visuals and haunting score, makes it a unique entry in both the zombie ethos and the broader horror genre as a whole. Decades later, The Beyond still unsettles with its blend of gore and eerie beauty, leaving us questioning what truly lies beyond death's door. In the end, maybe that's what makes it unforgettable. Not the answers it gives, but the haunting mysteries it leaves behind.